is that?
I realize now, because I just looked at the YouTube page, I copied and pasted the title from the first one, which was part 1, and this one's also called part 1 because I forgot to change it to 2. So
Well,
I'll fix it after the fact.
It's part 1 of the AFC.
Welcome to part 1 of part 1 of part 2 of part 1 of parts is parts. What's going on, Edson? You ready to do this?
Gotta love the AFC.
Yeah, the AFC is going to be fun. We had fun with the NFC.
I know.
But we'll see how much fun we can have with the AFC. So, where do you want to start? The AFC least?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, figures. Both East divisions are a little bit of not the whole mess.
The AFC was a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll start with the Buffalo Bills, as Chris Berman says, circling the wagons once again. The Buffalo Bills. Out of Orchard Park, New York. So, what do you want to say about the Buffalo Bills and their offense?
Well, what?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Change it to this view.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah.
I mean, they start off great with the first half of the first half of the season. So that's the first quarter of the season.
Right.
And they didn't do so well in the second part of the first half. So it's kind of like uneven, but that last game against the Seahawks was certainly great. I mean, I think the offense just revolves around Josh Allen. If he's doing good, then they're doing good, and maybe that's the way it was just designed. They're running; they don't really have a really good running game, so you really need him to succeed. And they're doing pretty well. I give them a B.
A B. Oh, I have to get to the report card here. My mouse is like crapping out or something. I keep clicking things and they just won't work. Edson gives the Seahawks, the Bills offense. It's late.
No, I know that.
Offense, yeah. For you, like you said, the first 4 weeks they looked like the Jim Kelly Bills.
Yeah,
putting up all kinds of crazy numbers. Josh Allen's running all over the place. But the one glaring weakness was Devin Singletary. And they're not getting what they expected out of him. So that when their offense began to bog down, then it really showed that they have no running game to speak of. Zach Moss has been in there the last 2 weeks. It's gotten a little bit better with him. But this past week, like you said, they caught fire again. I'm going to grade this on a little bit of a curve. 5 weeks they've looked amazing, and 3 they haven't. So I'm giving them a B+.
Okay.
For their offense. Defense.
What can you say about the Bills defense? It's not what the traditional Bills defense usually is. I don't see anything kind of really that they do really well. They don't rush the passer very well. They don't cover very well. They kind of like help the team stay in a game if the offense is faltering, but they certainly need help from the offense. They can't just do it alone. They're kind of mediocre, that defense. So I give them a C.
A C for the Buffalo Bills defense. In previous years, the defense would keep them in games because their offense was completely lethargic with Tyrod Taylor and Allen before this year.
Almost forgot yet.
They had a great pass rush. They were solid against the run. These are not the same Bills. And, it's weird because they got Josh Norman back there, and he's kind of hit or miss. Remember when he was, like, awesome with Carolina?
Yep.
Like, what
I remember.
He goes to Washington, and now he's just slightly better than average now. I think their defense is pretty bad. I'm giving them a C-.
Okay.
Huge disappointment.
I'm fine with that.
Coaching.
So Sean McDermott and staff, I think he's a good coach. He's been keeping them going in the right directions. I think this is maybe his third or fourth year.
Yeah.
Definitely. They're definitely going in the right direction. I believe they've had winning records all years that he's been there. So I haven't heard or read too much about if he has any kind of. I mean, I know he has a football mind, but if he has, the way to scheme things or anything like that, but he definitely motivates them and gets the best out of the talent that he has. So I'm giving him a B+.
A B+ for Sean McDermott and company. Yeah, I think he's a really good coach, and I think he's gotten a lot out of little in the past. I am curious to see what he does with that running back situation.
Yeah.
It looks to me like Moss is the guy, at least in the short term. They're probably gonna have to look in the draft or pick somebody up in the offseason. But yeah, he's an above average coach. He's almost an elite coach, I think. I'm going to give him a B+ as well. All right. Overall, your Buffalo Bills, Edson.
I'm going to give him a solid B because the defense drags them down a little bit.
Solid B. Yeah, their offense can be spectacular when it's humming. Their defense has not looked good all year. I wonder where it is, if it will show up. I mean, This is the mid-season. By the end of the season, we could be saying something completely different about this team.
True.
But I think they're slightly better than average, B+.
Okay.
Overall. All right, moving on. Let me shut that off. Next, we go to your team, the My Dolphins.
It's difficult to grade my team.
Mine's in here too this time, so we're both in the same boat.
I mean, they're certainly.
You know what I realized? Hang on a second. Hang on a second here. Just hold the phone. We're doing the AFC.
Yeah. Oh,
this has got a red.
That's right.
Sorry, Buffalo.
That's right. I was seeing the blue too.
Yeah. All right.
Well, they're certainly beating my expectations or most people's expectations for this year. No one thought they'd be doing this well at this point. Their offense is kind of been not the same offense, obviously, because it was Fitzpatrick for the first 5 or 6 games, and now it's Tua. But either one in there, they're doing very well. They're pretty much. I mean, they're doing their part in the games that they win, and I'm gonna give them at this point a C+.
A C+. Really? I was expecting.
I know. I think
you were hyping it. I expected something bigger than that.
I think I always try to downplay when it comes to. I don't know. It's probably hard. Other Miami fans might get mad at that.
Well, bring on the hate mail then. Yeah, I'm with you. They don't really have too many standout players right now. The marquee players. It's a who's who of young, no names right now, really, for the most part. Right. And you're right. Fitzpatrick is Fitzpatrick. He's a nice story. And at the beginning of the year, he'll win you 3, maybe 4 games. But if the guy cannot play a 16-game schedule, we know what happens. The league catches up to him.
Yeah.
So moving to Tua when they did was a perfect time because Fitzpatrick was about to hit that wall and start throwing picks and everything else. So it's weird. It's kind of like, you're right. It's 2 different offenses. And it's been a very small sample size with Tua. The first game he threw like 90-something yards. The second game he puts up 300. So I'm going to go B- because I'm a believer, and believer starts with a B.
I also forgot to add they have a bad running back situation.
They got rid of them all.
Yeah, they don't have a running. Yeah, that's what mostly got it down to the grade I had. That aspect of it doesn't really exist. I mean, it kind of does because the quarterback can run too, but you got to have a running back. gives you
So,
something.
and the reason I upgraded to the B- is because I think with Tua they're going in the right direction.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Defense,
I don't. This is gonna sound weird as a Dolphin fan, but I don't remember. I don't think I know like almost any of their names. they're,
Wow.
they're kind of like a team that I guess you want to call them a team of no names, but they make a lot of plays.
Well, I was going to say historically, as a Dolphins fan, the no-name defense is a good thing, right?
I know it is, and it could be the same thing. I mean, they routinely score. I mean, they get a lot of turnovers, but they routinely score on the turnovers, which has helped them to win a couple of games. And they just make plays they're opportunistic in their plays. I mean, they're not a spectacular defense, but they do make them when it counts. So I'm going to also give them a C+.
C+ for the Miami defense. Brian Flores has a defensive mind.
Yep.
And I agree with everything you just said. Much like their offense, there's really no names on the defense. This is a team full of just young, aggressive guys who are well coached. Their defense does give up chunks of yards. They got that bend don't break thing going on too, though, I think. But I'm with you. I'm going to give the defense a C+, and a lot of it is I'm just not familiar enough with their defense at this point in time.
Well, neither am I.
So,
and I should be.
Right. But that brings me to brings us to coaching, and
yeah.
And
you mentioned the defense. I believe he was like what the Patriots linebacker coach. So yes, he does have a defensive mind. Yes. He's only 39. He's pretty young.
Yep.
I'm hoping he stays there. I like him. I'm hoping he stays there for like 10, 20 years if he can, because he's so young. He definitely knows how to coach. I mean, in all aspects of it, he pays attention to all three aspects of it. Their special teams does well as also. So, you have some of the coaches in the league who kind of ignore that because they're like, well, the special teams aren't really on the field that much, and they ignore that, and that's a big mistake. He doesn't. So I'm going to give him a B+ at this point. I know he's only been there. This is only his second year, but.
Okay. I'm getting in the Wayback Machine, and I'm going to last year.
Oh, okay.
When it looked pretty evident to everybody that they were tanking for Tua. Before Tua got hurt with the hip injury, it became tanking for Joe Burrow. They cleaned house. I think by week 7 or 8, they had nobody left, and they were abysmal. And then suddenly, with very little quote unquote talent left on that team, he starts winning.
I know.
And made them not only competitive, but they were a winning team down the stretch.
Yep.
It's carried over to this year. They're what are they right now? 5-3.
5-3. Yep.
5-3. They just picked off Arizona in Arizona, a team that on paper is far superior. It looked like a mismatch.
Yeah.
I am a huge believer in Brian Flores, and I'm giving him an A-.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I really, really like him as a coach. Overall,
I mean, I didn't really I didn't expect. I obviously expected an improvement because he replaced Adam Gase, so probably almost anyone would be. No, I mean, I was being serious. I mean, we're kind of.
But Adam Gase had some talent on his team. Like I said, last year they got rid of everybody.
No, I meant like specifically Brian Flores. It's like I figured it would be somebody better. No, when I didn't know anything about him, but he has been quite a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm going to give him a solid B at this point.
Miami with the B. I'm going to leave the B up because I agree with you. I think they're definitely on the upward trajectory. I think there's some good things happening there. And Brian Flores, who starts with the B, has them has them believing, which starts with a B, and they're on their way.
Why I really hope he becomes their kind of like next franchise coach and stays there for a while.
Kind of like my team's coach.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Speaking of great coaches, it's time to talk about Bill Belichick and the team formerly known as the New England Patriots. They're kind of a hurting unit right now. Offensively,
I mean, early on in the year, they were doing okay. With Cam Newton was doing well. He was getting as much as he could out of the talent, whatever talent they had on that offense. But after, we noted that after he was he was quarantined. After that him and that offense just are non-existent. He doesn't have anybody to throw to. There's no running game. I mean, they're ineffectual at every level.
Yeah.
So I have to take that into consideration. And I don't. It's like I'll give him a C.
A C for Cam.
Yeah, there you go.
Starts with a C. So I'm doing this tonight. The first couple of games they looked pretty solid, but granted he's lost Edelman now. But
yeah.
I think what we're seeing is the fact that Bill Belichick has let too much talent get away. He hasn't replenished it very well. And as much as I hate to admit it, clearly Tom Brady was overachieving with this staff.
With the talent, yeah.
For the most part, it's the same team. Granted, there's been some holdouts, but most of those are on defense or the opt-outs for the COVID.
Yeah.
So, I'm giving them a C-. I just think their offense looks pretty bad.
It does look bad.
Defense,
I pretty much have the same to say, except they haven't even had a good part of the season. And I know we brought this up. We got to put into consideration that there were a lot of players that opted out right from the get-go, so that puts them in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to be able to stop any. I mean, they couldn't stop the Jets offense with their backup quarterback recently.
Yeah, but their backup quarterback won a Super Bowl.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's true.
And he wasn't just like one of those quarterbacks that went for the ride. Joe Flacco had
he
off the postseasons that year.
Yep. It's a mess, especially with all those players out. So I'm gonna give him a C.
A C for the Patriots defense. I'm going to leave it up. I agree with you. Although in their defense, they spend a lot of time on the field because the offense goes 3 and out a lot.
That's true too.
A lot of punts. But I think it hurt. It started with Hightower, and it just every single one of these guys that Belichick relies on, and they're veterans, all decided to opt out this year. So, he's coaching uphill.
Yeah,
coaching.
Look, we all know who Bill Belichick is. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, no one's ever going to be able to say anything bad about him. But we're talking specifically of the first half of the season, and talking about that. I don't think he's done a good job. And I know in a lot of these situations, or not you, but people will say, well, he can only do what with his talent. But this is a unique case. He also has the say in that talent as well. He's not just a coach. It's not like there's a separate general manager that picks the talent. So he does take some of that blame outside of the people, opting out. I mean, that's not in his control.
Right.
So for the first half of the season, I'm also going to give him a C.
Wow. A C for Coach Belichick. Wow.
Yeah.
I got to separate the GM from the coach.
Yeah, I understand.
Just grade coaching. Yes, as a GM, he's abysmal. His drafts have not worked out in the last. I mean, how many drafts have worked out in the last couple of years? At least the high round picks. But coaching, like he didn't forget how to coach.
True, it's true.
Yeah. He's got 6 Super Bowls.
That's true.
He's still the best in the game. He schemes the best he can, but they have to go execute it. So I'm still going to give him an A. He's probably the best coach in the league. He's just talent depleted overall.
I'll stick with the same theme, the C.
Yeah, I'll leave it up because that's who they are. They're a 500 team. Maybe they might even be 7-9 this year. But I when they signed Newton, I thought he might be one of those reclamation projects that works out. Might go for a comeback player of the year kind of a thing. Certainly does not look that way to me. And that brings up the cellar dweller of the division, the New York Jets. This will be fun to grade. Fun, quick. This will be quick and easy, as they say. Quick and easy. Jets offense, Edson.
What can you say? Very, very up and down, mostly down. They have some flashes of some good plays, and Darnold has shown some talent when given a chance, but it's hard to judge him right now with the coaching he has and the lack of talent he has around him, and totally inconsistent play calling. I'm going to give him a D.
A D for offense. It's a passing grade. It says pass right there at the bottom.
Yeah, I know. It is.
I think Darnold is headed for his career is in jeopardy because he's on the decline, and he's only been there 3 years. I think what's happening to him is what happened to Mark Sanchez before him. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on over there. They got rid of Le'Veon Bell because they didn't know how to use him.
Yeah.
Herndon's a decent tight end. They don't use him. Their offensive line is in shambles. Jamison Crowder's like the most talented guy on the team. I can't believe he's still on there. Boy.
I know it's hard.
I'm waffling between. I'm in the D's as well, but I'm thinking, do I go D plus, D minus? I'll go with you. I'll give their offense a D.
D for Darnold. Defense. Now they have actually, in some parts of some games, have been competitive, and I'm gonna give credit to the defense for that. Not that I think that they're anything great either. They're just as badly coached as the offense is. So given that what they face, probably staying on the field, 60, 75% of the time because the offense is so bad, I'm going to give them a C.
A C for the Jets defense. Greg Williams, it's surprising because he's a good defensive coordinator. A little over aggressive, if one could say. They still have no pass rush, and that's not on him. It's their drafting.
Yeah.
They have solid linebackers, and their secondary's not good. C minus. The defense does hold them in the game for a while.
They do. I agree. They do.
But then they take on water at some point, and it's over.
Yep.
Coaching, Adam Gase, Greg Williams and company.
What can you say? I mean, everyone thought that, not a lot of people thought, Darnold was going to be their next franchise quarterback, and he may still be, but what has this coaching staff done, especially starting with Adam Gase? He's just probably gone further, regressed even before his college days at this point.
Yeah.
So the coaching, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give him an F.
The first fail. The first failing grade in our report card.
Yeah.
Adam Gase is clueless. Adam Gase got Le'Veon Bell and didn't know how to use him. Adam Gase says, I don't know. He doesn't quite fit my offensive game plan. Well, let me tell you something, Adam. You got one of the top 5 players in football. You fix your game plan.
Yep.
Adam Gase had Ryan Tannehill in Miami and couldn't get out of his own way. Ryan Tannehill took out the Ravens last year. Almost took out the Chiefs.
Yep. Took out the Patriots. Took out Tom Brady.
Took out Tom Brady. Adam Gase couldn't do anything with him. Adam Gase is a failure. The Jets overall, Edson.
Overall, well, I guess we could just take the average of all of these and just give them a D.
Wow. Edson gives the Jets a D. The 0-9 New York Jets. I got to be a little tougher on them.
Okay.
I'm giving them an F. They've been in one game. They don't show up. They're bad.
They are, and I'm kind of glad. Not kind of. I'm very glad that he's not, and that coach is not our coach anymore, the Dolphin coach anymore.
Right. So we're going to move into the AFC South. We'll start with the Indianapolis Horseshoes.
The type. Oh, okay, that's right. Because they just catapulted into first place. Right.
Yes, they did. Yeah, we're a little bit past the midpoint with the AFC here. Some of these teams have 9 wins or not have played 9 games.
Yeah.
So the Colts offense.
So they got Phillip Rivers now. He's a little bit up and down. Can have these great games, but also makes a lot of mistakes. And their offensive line is actually solid for once in a long time. I wish they had this offensive line with Andrew Luck.
Right.
Who never got one.
For quarterback. I like it.
Yep, they're definitely very up and down. I'm going to give them a B.
B for the Colts offense for balling.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Phillip Rivers sometimes looks his age. Other times he doesn't. I think what hurt their offense a little bit was Marlon Mack got hurt right away at the beginning of the year.
That's true. Yeah,
gone for the year. So they've had Hines and Taylor and, there's revolving door guys back there. So they can look great at times. And, T.Y. Hilton hasn't been healthy all that much either this year. Yeah, they're very Jekyll and Hyde. They're very schizophrenic. But they can score when they have to, it seems. Yeah. I'm going to go B as well. They're kind of an enigma, this team. Defense.
Yeah. Oh, well, the defense. Okay. So I didn't know that much about how the Colts defense was doing until the last few weeks. And I'm glad I got the chance to just watch them more because they are fast.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. They're so fast.
Yeah.
They get to the ball quick, which, when you're playing somebody like a Henry, you get to him before he kind of like gets a load of steam going, and you stop him right at the line or even before the line, and you nullify his advantage, his strengths, so to speak. They're fast at linebacker. They're fast in the secondary, and they rush the passer really well, and it's speed everywhere. I'm giving them an A.
A for the Colts defense. Yeah, I mean they're savage. They hit. They're all over the ball. They get turnovers a lot. They're really, really solid defense. I'm going to give them an A-. Ironically, Frank Reich, the head coach, is more of an offensive coach.
Yep.
But boy, he's got that defense humming. Coaching.
Yes, it's a nice thing that he can have, that he can concentrate on the offense with that great defense. He's obviously been with that franchise for a long time, starting way back when he was playing himself as a quarterback. And I think he's a big help for Phillip Rivers. He's able to like kind of calm him down and maximize what he still has left while minimizing his mistakes with his offense. Kind of keeps it, mid to, short to mid levels with some long passes when it's an opportunity time. So I'm gonna give, and he's a good coach overall too. I mean, he's been there. Trying to think. I have this
4
down.
years. 4
Yeah, I
years.
think 3 or 4 years. I'm giving him a B plus.
B plus for Frank Reich and company. Yeah, I like Frank Reich. I always have. He's responsible for the biggest comeback of all time, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys who's the underdog and finds a way as a player and as a coach. I still think with half the year to go, the best is yet to come with this team. I like what you said about the Phillip Rivers thing. As much as I like Phillip Rivers, I think his Achilles heel for his entire career has been how emotional, how he can't control his emotions a lot. He's a scrapper. He's a competitor. I really like him. He's a unique guy, Phillip Rivers, because he won't swear. He's dadgummit, and he won't curse. He's a good guy.
I like
But
that.
I think when things go bad, they go real bad. And Frank Reich is a perfect guy to calm him down and settle him and focus him, especially like you said, at his age where he's losing some of his ability. I'm also going to go B plus with the coaching. Frank Reich is solid.
Yeah, you said.
Overall.
I remember you saying in a previous video about how Tom Brady was laid so low that he was throwing up the ball for grabs. Well, Philip Rivers routinely throws the ball for grabs when things go wrong.
Exactly.
So he needs Frank.
Right.
Overall, what did I have? Oh, I have him as a B plus. The team.
B plus for the Colts.
Yep.
I'm going to go B for the Colts. I still don't really quite know how good they are or how bad they are. They are still 6-3. It's like, could go either way. Same with this team. The team that's also 6-3. That was in first place until week 9. Or 10. They started week 10, but it was 9th game. But yeah. The Tennessee Tuxedos, Edson. What do we give their offense?
I mean, Tannehill, I'm very impressed. He does the most with that offense, with the talent in that offense. He maximizes the talent in that offense. We've talked about how he does very well under pressure. That's his strength, making a team pay for coming after him. Obviously, they have a great running game with Henry also, so it's very two-dimensional, just like you want it to be. And they have talent. They have some talent at every position. Not necessarily great, but they use it to the most advantage. I'm gonna give them B.
B on offense. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack with this team, this offense. You have a guy in Tannehill who supplanted a number 1 overall pick, Marcus Mariota. Not the overall number 1, but the number 1 pick. Tennessee Titans. A guy who at that point in time was average at best in Miami. Here and supplants the number 1 draft pick. Derrick Henry's a beast. He's probably the best back in football, if not, one of the best. And I like Smith and Brown. They're 2 monster wideouts. Those guys are huge. They're
they are big.
They're like Anquan Bolden big, I just think there's enough there, but they don't get enough out of them at times. I mean, they've had some games where they put up 30-something points, but then you see a game like the other.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of this team. I'm going to give their offense a B- because I think when push comes to shove, they're going to underachieve on offense. Defense, Tennessee
Speaking of underachieving,
defense.
Their offense has taken quite a step back from last year. Their defense has taken quite a step back from last year. We've talked about often how they're so bad at not getting off the field, just allowing the opposing team to get a lot of third down conversions. They just can't do it, can't get over that. And it's like they help the opposing team sustain these drives, and then they wind up getting tired, and then things go really bad. So I don't know what to make of it. I remember them being much better last year. So I'm going to give them a C at this point.
C for the Tennessee defense. Yeah. Championships are won with defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in last year, that was kind of the prescription. Tannehill was throwing the ball 15 times in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, then you have 2 games under 100 yards passing in the 2 playoff wins that they had last year. So they were doing it with running and defense. They got the running game still, but they don't have that defense. And I think that puts too much pressure on an offense that's average at best, right? Especially if you take Henry away, what are they really?
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm right there with you. C for the defense. They better get their act together before this year is over. It's going to be a real short postseason for this team.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah, I had a hard time with this. I mean, because I admired him so much last year, specifically Vrabel and the staff, because of what they did with that team, how far they went when it wasn't expected. But now we're talking about this year's part, and that's not necessarily all on them either. But some of it's got to be. I don't know. I mean, I know he's a good motivator, and I'm not too sure about in terms of scheming whether he's good at finding the opposing weakness. I'm not sure about that, so I'm going to give him a B minus.
B minus for Vrabel and company. I like Mike Vrabel. I think he's very detail oriented. I think he learned a lot under Bill Belichick as a player, and he's like one of those like the baseball catcher. The catchers become the best managers, and Mike was a middle linebacker, and he was a good one.
Yep.
The Steelers actually cut him. He couldn't crack the Steeler roster. He ended up in New England and had a really good career in New England.
A good career there, yeah.
I just think he's always been a cerebral player. I think the reason he was so good is because I don't think physically he was very gifted. I think he made up for it with strategy.
Okay.
The nose and study.
I did not know that. Okay.
I think he's a really good coach, and the fact that he gets what he gets out of Tannehill, that offense, I'm giving him an A minus. Okay. I think he's one of the best coaches in football. Overall,
I gotta look more into him then.
Yeah, no, I really admire Mike Vrabel as a head coach.
Overall, I'm gonna give them a B at this point.
B for Tennessee. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm right there with you. They're slightly better than average, but they got a whole half a season to go, and they haven't looked as good. 3 of their last 4 games have been losses. So, yeah. Very, very interesting times
going in the wrong direction right now, but still
they really are. They really are headed in the wrong direction, but lucky they play in a crappy division.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about teams like this anymore.
Yeah.
What can we say about the Houston Texans? Well, start with their offense.
Well, Deshaun Watson's still great. I'll give him that. But I mean,
he really is.
He is, but they traded away their best receiver, probably their only good receiver, and most of their running game is coming from Watson. I think he's doing the best he can with the talent that he has, but there's not a lot. There's not a lot there. The offense is definitely keeping them in games with what they do. They do score a lot of points. I'm gonna give them. I know they're with their record. Trying to think if that's too high. I'll say B minus.
B minus for the Houston offense. I think that's fair. Deshaun Watson can put the team on his back if he has to.
Yeah.
Kenny Stills isn't bad. They got Randall Cobb. They got some talent there. They can catch the ball. I think their biggest mistake, they trade DeAndre Hopkins for what's amounted to is a bag of balls. Because David Johnson hasn't done much at all. And then they have Duke Johnson, who hasn't done much at all. So they rely on him, on Watson, to do just about anything. And he's capable. I'm with you. I'm going to give them a B- on offense because they can score. They can keep up with people on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they can.
Defense.
Where is this defense? I hate to say so many bad things about the defense because JJ Watt's there, but they're not performing at all. I mean, they're just. We said it in another video when they were playing the Jaguars. It's like this defense, specialty, is keeping the opposing team in a game, in the game, the way they let the opposing teams back. I don't know. I don't see them doing anything very well when they. What was it? It's just a few years ago they were a dominant defense.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a D.
A D for defense. Yeah. JJ Watt's better years are behind him. Maybe the injuries have caught up. I don't know. They are in, they just, injuries, bad luck. I think a lot of this, the way their season started,
we could go back to that.
Be a little demoralizing. I don't know, but you're right. Their defense, no great shakes. I'm giving them a C-. The potential is still there, I guess, but to this point, underachieved. Coaching.
So this team was a victim of an early coaching change. So this is the interim coach, Romeo Crennel, right?
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's done a decent job. I mean, they're 2-2 since he took over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to do anything spectacular, but they're keeping it. He's him and the coaching staff are kind of keeping him together. I don't think the team has bailed out on them at this point. They're still competing. I'm going to give them a B-.
B- for Romeo Crennel and company. Bill O'Brien was a train wreck. I think Bill O'Brien's ego just got the best of him eventually. His hubris just.
Yeah.
Especially in the general manager department where he's making
that's where the
horrible moves. I mean, my
God.
I'm surprised Watson's still on the team. I'm surprised he didn't trade him too. Romeo, we've seen Romeo as a head coach before.
Yep,
was not
have.
pretty. But like you said, 2-2. That's 500. So I'm giving him a 500 grade. C.
Yeah. Okay.
Overall,
I'm going to give this team a C, even though it's been even more disappointing than that. But you're right. It is, some of it's a product of the toughest schedule you could have and snowball effect.
Yeah. I mean, they started this season at Kansas City, Baltimore Ravens, at Pittsburgh Steelers. What are you going to do with that? But that's no excuse for poor play. No excuse for poor coaching. I'm giving this team a D+.
Ooh, okay.
D+. This was a team that was supposed to compete. Not only the division, but to make noise in the playoffs, and it's not happening.
And now their misfortune becomes the Dolphins' fortune for next year's draft.
And now that we're talking about misfortune,
oh gosh,
let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars offensively. What can you say about the Jacksonville?
What can you say? I mean, early on they were kind of very up and down. There were parts of games that they did very well, and then I saw my first game that I saw with them, the first complete game I saw with them was against the Dolphins, and they kind of just, where were they? They got blown out completely in Jacksonville, I believe. And then since then, I haven't seen much at all. And now I know they have the backup quarterback there. He's doing the best he can. But I mean, I think since they went to was it the championship game or a few years ago, and kind of were right on that edge where they were about to take out the Patriots. Since that happened, it's like it's just all downhill. And I've seen other teams have similar type of journey. I I'm going to give them a C- for the offense.
C- for the Jags offense. When Gardner Minshew was playing, they seemed to be a little more potent on offense. They have found a running back now with James Robinson. He looks pretty good. But again, you have receivers like what's his name, Chalk. They're just who they are. And you're right. It's amazing with Blake Bortles. They came this close to going to the Super Bowl just 3 seasons ago, and now they are a dumpster fire. I don't know how to grade this because with Minshew,
I know.
Decent on offense, but I'll go with you. C-. Defense.
This defense doesn't do anything well. They just don't. They don't put pressure on the quarterback.
When they had that four. They had the years they were good. They had that front line, those 4 guys that were amazing, and now they're all gone.
And it wasn't that long ago.
And all those guys, right? They're all gone.
It's what happens when you get to that level, right at that level, and you can't make it. Then it just gets dismantled.
Yeah.
Their secondary can't cover anybody. This defense routinely gives up, 30 plus points, and I got to put some of that on the offense too, for if they can't get any headway and keep them out there. But like I said, I haven't seen anything that this defense can do well, so I'm going to give them a D.
A D for the Jags defense. Yeah, they're borderline inept, and it's just hard to believe. I remember how good they were.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were really good, and it's just been completely dismantled. And that's from management. There is a salary cap in this league. You'd like to say, well, they're a small market team, they can't compete, but
no.
Green Bay is owned by the citizens of that little town in Wisconsin, and they hang.
That's
in there.
right.
It's bad personnel management, top to bottom. It's just not. And I think their owner, Khan, seems like a decent guy, and he wants to win, and he's not afraid of spending money, but something's not right. But I've digressed. Let's go back to the defense. I'll give him a D+. Yeah. Coaching.
Doug Marrone and staff. I mean, he did well with them a few years back, and he's still a good coach. I mean, you can only do so much with what you're given. I've even now when I see them kind of play dismally, they still do play for him. So I don't see that as a, giving up on the coach. But again, you can only do so much with the talent. It's hard to judge a coach like that when you don't know how much when you've seen him do so well before, what this team can do with more talent. I'm going to give him a C.
C for Doug Marrone and company. It is hard. And like I said with Bill Belichick, guys like this don't forget how to coach.
Yeah, okay.
He'll forget more football than I know, right? How that goes?
Yeah,
you're right. Doug Marrone, and even those years when Doug Marrone was winning with his team, he had a shitty quarterback. He probably had the shittiest quarterback I've ever seen, Blake Bortles.
He never had them.
Awful. And he still found a way to win. And Leonard Fournette was a huge part of that. And the defense. I think Marrone's a good coach. Like you said, you can't be expected to cook a 5-star meal with moldy ingredients. So I'll give him a B-. Jags overall, Edson?
It's probably going to be generous based on their record, but I'm going to give them a C.
A C? Wow. Okay. This is a team who is who's putting the fear in the Jets. They are in, objects may appear closer than they appear in the mirror there.
Yeah.
The Jets are like, oh shit, we had this sewn up. The Giants have 2 wins. They got no shot at the number 1 pick, but here come the Jags on their 7-game losing streak. They're
Yep,
right on our ass.
that's
The
true.
Jags won their opener and have lost every game since. This team is abysmal. D-.
Okay, that was being very generous. I don't know what I was looking at. I know I
Yeah.
had,
Please clarify.
you know.
Moving on to what might be the
Oh, you know what it was?
toughest of it. What's
Okay.
that? What was it? Did you
I
look at the
screwed
wrong?
that. Yeah, no, I didn't look at the wrong. I actually had Marone with like a bit better because of his coach. You know, the coaching part has been the hardest for me because it's like I know these are all good, not all. I know these are good coaches that are in bad teams, and it's like how do I judge them for this year? The team does bad, but how do I know they're not doing well? It's
Right.
like,
Right.
know.
Well, that's kind of like I
Anyways.
look at their whole body of work and say,
Yeah,
they
okay.
didn't just become a moron all of a
I
sudden.
know. It's hard for me to do the coaches.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
let's move on to the AFC North, which next to the NFC West might be the toughest division right now in football.
Yeah. Yes,
and we'll
it
start
is.
with, now it's my turn to be critical of my team. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
I mean, obviously, you know a lot more than I do about them, so this is just my small little take on it. I mean, their offense is doing very well. I don't think it's an offense that is like this raging fire that just scores up and down, all day long or anything like that, or just blows away teams. I don't think it's like a Kansas City type offense that just kind of just always scores over 30 points. But it's a smart offense. They score when they have to. They definitely step it up a lot. Otherwise, they like to go on these long sustained drives, which is a good thing. You keep your defense fresh. And like I said, in those moments, like in the last 2 minutes when you need a score, or last 2 minutes of the half, or last 2 minutes of the game, as we saw last week, they step it up and score. They have great receivers, obviously, and Ben is older, but he is doing really well. I don't see the long passes a lot this year. The really long pass. He used to have those really long arc passes, 50 plus yards. I don't see that a lot this year. I see the medium passes more, which is more like long drives. And the running game, I wish it was a little bit better. I know Connor is a good running back. I haven't seen a lot from the running game in a lot of games. Not necessarily in all the games, but in a lot of games. I'm going to give them a B+.
B+ on offense. Yeah.
Too
I'm
much.
going to be very critical. The offensive coordinator, Randy Fichtner, is an idiot.
Oh, okay.
Plain and simple. He's an idiot.
Okay.
They brought in Matt Canada from Pitt to design plays, and he immediately brought in things like those jet sweeps they do with the wide receivers and changed things up, especially when you saw earlier in the season against teams like the Eagles, where they did all these exotic things on offense. They've gotten away from that in the last few weeks. The running game is basically non-existent because I don't know whether it's the offensive line. The situational play calling can be abysmal at times. Randy Fichtner, idiot. For example, against Dallas, they had a 3rd and 1 and then a 4th and 1 in one series, and James Conner was on the sideline.
Wow.
He used Benny Snell and then Anthony McFarland, our new rookie. Jeez. What are you doing? With the wide receiver talent on this team, and Roethlisberger, he is throwing those deep balls. He's missing by a mile. He's overthrowing. Overthrowing them by 10 or 15 yards. And at the beginning of the year, you thought, okay, because it's the time off and he doesn't have the timing down. We're in week 9, 10. He's still doing it. This offense needs some work. I'm giving him a B- on offense. Defense.
What can you say? I mean, this is the opposite, basically the opposite of what I was of what the Jaguars defense is. When I said the Jaguars weren't doing anything right, every aspect of this defense is doing everything great. They rushed the quarterback. They put pressure on the quarterback almost always with just their defensive line. Their linebackers are very fast. They're really good against the run. And they have great cover guys. I mean, I know, and we got fleeced with Minka, who constantly makes plays. Every week you hear his name come up. They're just running on all cylinders, and I think some aspect of that, I was trying to say that the offense does sustain long drives. Well, it does help the defense also stay fresh, which is good. They're very aggressive and fast. I'm going to give them an A, solid A.
A for the Steelers defense. I would have given them an A before Devin Bush got hurt.
Oh, okay.
Losing Devin Bush has created a problem in the middle of the field, and it's starting to get exposed. The last 2 games, they've given up huge chunks of rushing yardage. That said, the bookend linebackers of Watt and Dupree are incredible and incredibly disruptive. I think the Steelers have 3 of the top 10 players in the league that pressure quarterbacks, with Tuitt, Dupree, and Watt. The secondary is wicked solid. Yeah, but I'm not going to go as high as you. I'm going to give them an A-.
Okay.
And that's because of the loss of Devin Bush and the hole it created in the middle of the field. Coaching.
Mike Tomlin and staff, I mean, if you go back, I know we're talking about this year, but if you go back from what 13, 14 years, I don't think there's ever been a losing season with him, has there?
No, he's never had a losing season.
Competitive every single year, and that's what, if you're a fan, you want that. You don't want to be like halfway through the season and you're done. And this year has been brilliant. I mean, we're talking about teams that couldn't possibly be ready because of the no preseason.
Right. No
and
training.
They were.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect record. I mean, he's done a fantastic job in all aspects of the game. He's a great motivator, I know. And now on a personal level, because I'm going to go a little bit off book. He's also got personally involved and brought the Steelers organization into this thing called Operation Underground, which is a private firm that tries to find children who have been kidnapped. I know it has nothing to do with football, but I just admire him for that. But as a football coach, I give him an A.
A for Mike Tomlin and company. Yeah, Mike Tomlin is all class. He's all world. I've been alive, I'm going to tell everyone in the audience, 51 years now. And since I was born, the Steelers have had 3 coaches.
Which is great.
No, Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin.
Never a miss.
The organization knows what they're doing. They're steady. Operation Underground is clearly something the Roonies want to be part of, because that's who the Roonies are. That's who the coaches they hire are. Those are the players they sign are. Malcontents don't last long in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
They have a system that they stand by. They have a culture that they stand by. And as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I couldn't be more proud of, forget the success on the field, who they've been since 1969. That said, Tomlin does have some clock management issues, and he never gets a challenge right.
Yeah,
but after last year, when he took a team with Duck Hodges and wide receivers named Johnny Holton, and Dean Kane, not Dean Kane, something Kane. I don't remember these guys. He had nothing. He had nothing. And almost got him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep.
Overall, the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, they're the team that has a perfect record, so I mean, technically I should be an A+, but I'll give them an A.
I'm going to give him an A as well, and you're right, it's not an A+ because you'd think a team with no losses is the best team overall, but I don't think they are. I think they've made the plays, like you said, when they had to.
Yep.
But I think there's one team that's a little better overall. Maybe we'll see. All right, that brings us to the arch nemesis of the Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens. What do you say about the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I say the offense. I mean, Lamar Jackson. He's a great player, but the offense has definitely taken a step back from last year. I don't see the passing game at all. They're like become this where they're near the top of the league in the run game, and Jackson is a big part of that. And they're kind of almost at the bottom of the league in the passing, and you can't go far in the playoffs without a passing game. I don't know what's happened. And it's not that he doesn't know how to throw, because I've seen the throws last year. There's something wrong with that offense, and I'm not sure where it is. Did Jackson regress a little bit? I don't know. He's still running, so he's still I don't know. I guess he could have better receivers, but he still has a good offensive line, so I'm not sure. Maybe it could be the offensive scheme that they're putting out there, but it's still Harbaugh, so I don't see how he would. Harbaugh perfectly designed a system that maximized you saw that last year, maximized Jackson's talents. So I don't see why there would be a change that way. So I still am kind of at a loss to know what's happening to this offense. I'm giving him a B at this point.
B for Baltimore's offense. Yeah, I think this is Lamar's second year as a starter, third year overall, because he came in the back half.
Yep.
Year.
He did.
That's about time where the league figures you out. If you do not alter your game, you don't grow and adapt. One thing I've noticed of Jackson throughout the 3 years he's been in the league is he doesn't seem to have much touch on his deep ball. He throws everything as a frozen rope. Everything's a line drop. And when you put pressure on him and he feels like he's got to throw, he just throws these laser beams that are behind guys, and he's not accurate. He's been exposed how many times now? Three times at least.
Yeah.
I know their record right now is 6-2, but it could very easily be 5-3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they've turned Jackson into a one-dimensional player. I think the league's starting to figure him out. Now that running game, if they can stay on the field and grind away with Ingram and Edwards and what was the other guy? Dobbins. They're and Jackson himself. They're virtually unstoppable. You can't get them off the field, and they eat clock and they walk away with a win.
True.
I'm going to give their offense a B as well.
Okay.
Defense.
Now they still haven't. They still haven't changed on defense from what they usually are. Still a great defense. They go after the quarterback really well. They're very fast in the secondary. In a lot of these games where the offense kind of has a lapse, specifically that last game where the first half they didn't do anything. That defense keeps them in these games so that they still have a chance. They're opportunistic. They make these. They're always around the ball so that they do have a lot of turnovers, and they make plays that can change the course of the game if they're not doing well. I'm going to give them a B+.
B+ on defense. Yeah, their secondary is really good with Peters and Smith, and yeah, they're good. They put a lot, like you said, they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They hit. They're quick to the ball. They've always been that way. Yeah, I got to give the Ravens defense an A-. I think they're right there in the top 5 to 8 defenses in the league. Coaching.
John Harbaugh and company. Harbaugh is very similar to what we talked about with Tomlin. He's been like there 13 years, I believe, almost as many long. Pretty much always also keeps the team competitive. He seems to have a way to, unlike other coaches that have the ego that they want to play their system, he seems to be able to change according to utilize what he had, the talent he has. And the perfect example was Lamar Jackson. At least I saw it last year play really well. And you're right, the league can catch up to you, and now it's going to be probably his job to counter that. And so far, it hasn't been happening. But he's a good coach, so I'm going to give him a B+.
B+ for John Harbaugh. Yeah, I think John Harbaugh is elite in this league. The most telling sign is what you said. 2 seasons ago, he took an offense that was designed around Joe Flacco, who's pretty much a classic pocket passer, and completely changed it to fit a running quarterback that runs the RPO, right?
Yep.
And did it pretty quickly and seamlessly. Yeah. This guy's got that team there year after year after year. They hit a clunker now and then.
Yeah.
But last year they were 14-2. I think, what were they the year before? 8-8 maybe.
Yeah.
So they had a clunker and then bang, 14-2, right? He hasn't gotten over the playoff hump. He got the 1 Super Bowl with Joe Flacco about 5 or 6 years ago, but for the most part, they keep hitting the playoffs and underachieving.
Yeah, that's true.
And for that,
it's true.
For that, I've got to dock him a little bit, so I'm going B+ as well. He would have been an A-, but his playoff failures, and that has nothing to do with this season, really.
I know.
But overall, the Baltimore Ravens.
B+.
B+. Yeah, I'm going to leave that up. Same thing. I expected more out of them to this point.
Yeah.
They've had kind of a strange up and down year, and we'll see what happens. But they're down 2.5 games now with Pittsburgh because Steelers already beat them once, and they have the rematch on Thanksgiving night. So that's going to be that's going to determine who's going to win the division at that point. But
that's that late game. Oh, I'm going to look forward to having that nice Thanksgiving.
That's going to be
nice. Knowing that I don't have to even go to work the next day, I'm going to enjoy that.
That's going to be a good one. Next up, the Cleveland Brownies. Come on. What's going on with this? Jeez. There they go. Cleveland Brownies. The Flying Mayfields, whatever you want to call them.
I guess they are. So their offense gives you the opposite of what I just said about the Ravens. Their passing is kind of very low rated, while their running game. Oh no, that's actually the same. Never mind. I'm contradicting myself. It's actually the same thing as I talked about the Ravens. Their running game is also very high up in the league, and their passing is ranked low. I mean, I know we talked about Mayfield a lot, and he's more of a not a spectacular passer, and he's more of like somebody who you want to manage the game, and you don't want to put the game on his shoulders, because that's when he tends to go awry. So with that running game, it does help. But when that's not there, you see Cleveland's offense kind of falter and, kind of fall apart. What was it? What did I give them? The offense, I give them a B. They have good games and not so good games.
A B for Baker Mayfield's Cleveland Browns. Yeah. I'm with you. The offense is shaky, and it's mostly because of Baker. He's a turnover machine, it seems like. The running game, Kareem Hunt is your backup. Kareem Hunt is
that's the backup,
and he's your backup.
Yeah.
And they're getting Nick Chubb back this week. The team's 5-3, and I go back to what I was saying. I know I picked them right after OBJ was gone for the year, thinking that it was Baker's emancipation game, and they laid a big turd. But I still think they're better without OBJ. I think that's addition by subtraction. I think they will get it together at some point. I'm going to give them a B- on offense. And it's mostly because of all the turnovers that Mayfield produces on his own.
Yeah,
he's got to clean that up. Defense.
The Browns defense, I think they have quite a mediocre defense. they need the offense's help to shorten the game. The longer they're out there, the worse it gets for that defense. I mean, they start games pretty well, but then you could see all the holes that come up. They can't maintain, keeping a team in check for long. So I'm going to give them a C.
A C on defense. I think their defense is slightly better than average. They are victim of Baker Mayfield's turnover machine quite a bit.
Okay.
Where suddenly they're
There you go.
They're defending a short field a lot. They get off on third down and they're back out there, play or two later. His turnovers hurt them a lot, and that said, they have also completely laid an egg in big games. Games where you expected them to win this year. I'm going to give them a C+ on defense. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think the room for improvement is definitely there too. I think they can improve. Coaching.
So Kevin Stefanski, Stefanski and company. This is his first year after last year's kind of disaster, and I think he's done a good job. I think he's done a good job stabilizing that team. Keep.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, there you are.
Oh,
he froze.
Oh boy.
Beauty of live.
Like you said, 5-3. That's really good from last year. It's still probably a little too early for me to really know what Stefanski is as a coach, but he's doing well so far this year. So I'm going to give him a B.
B for Stefanski. Yeah, I actually am impressed with what he's done so far. He's had to deal with OBJ's temper tantrums in the middle of games. I know when they played the Steelers, he took his shirt off and took his shoes off, and
that's right.
He's dealt with the headaches that came with what happened with Helmet Gate last year. In the suspension for Myles Garrett that came with it. And this team is right there, 5-3, and for the most part, look solid and beyond, slightly better than average, competitive. Again, I got to see them pick off a big team, though.
That's true.
Pick off a Pittsburgh or a Baltimore. So far, they've played Baltimore and Pittsburgh and lost by a combined score of 38 times 2. 76 to 13.
That's fair.
But that said, I think he's done a really good job coaching this team. I'm going to give him a B. Overall, your Cleveland Brownies.
I'm going to give them a C+ because of the turnover machine.
Yeah, Baker's the gift that keeps on giving. I like Mayfield. But I think he's got a lot of Phillip Rivers in him, a lot of Brett Favre in him. I think he's kind of a riverboat gambler, and he takes too many chances. His emotions get the best of him. Overall, I'll give the Browns a B-. 5-3. They still got a shot at a playoff spot, so I can't put them in the lower mediocre bracket, if you will. So that moves us to the final team in the division before we go on to the West, and that would be the Cincinnati Tiger Stripes, the Bengal Tigers, led by one Joe Burrow.
Yep. And he's been everything that you could have hoped for. He's fit right into the NFL. He's got some great receivers that he could throw to, a decent offensive line, which gives them time to throw. Despite their record and in last place, there's bright days ahead, I believe, for this team. They've been competitive in almost all their games. They've had some bad luck in losing some of those, but being competitive in those, that means that I think some teams should watch out for the second half when they meet the Bengals. They maybe make some significant trouble for teams that are hopeful to be playoff bound if they're not careful. I'm going to give them a B for now. Yep, for the first half.
A B for the Bengals. Yeah, offensively, they lost Mixon. That's
Yeah.
Giovanni Bernard is not what they thought he was when they drafted him, clearly. But Joe Burrow is everything as advertised. And, I remember watching him when he beat Alabama last year, and he was just so composed in the post-game interview and humble. And him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire were both interviewed, and I said, I like both of these guys a lot. They just seem like throwback guys from another era. No attitude, no ego, no nothing. Just stoic. They were both so stoic. Yeah. His receiving core, when AJ Green is the third guy now,
Yeah. That's a good thing.
That's talent. Yeah, I'm going to give their offense a B+.
Okay.
They are dangerous, in my opinion. They are dangerous. Defense.
They are dangerous. But I think they're going to have to improve on defense in order to be even more dangerous and more competitive. Kind of like a vanilla defense that always requires the offense to kind of go in shootouts to stay in the game. Mm-hmm. So they're routinely giving up a lot of points. I'm going to give them a C-.
A C- on defense. Yeah, they just had to move Dunlap to Seattle.
Yeah.
You haven't heard much out of Atkins this year. Yeah, they get in these games where they're in shootouts all the time, so I don't think the defense has much talent overall. They got a lot to work on. I'm going to give them a C- as well. Coaching.
Zach Taylor and company. I believe this is his second year, so
yes.
Being able to survive in Cincinnati for 2 years. No, I'm just kidding. They do keep their coaches a while, so
Yeah.
probably too long.
I don't know how Marvin lasted that long. I like Marvin Lewis as a person.
Yeah.
But my God, he had no control over the locker room. He had no control over the team. Year after year.
It always wound up the same.
Yeah.
That being said, this team looks like they're going in the right direction. And I know it has a lot to do with Burrow, but there's a lot more pieces to it than just him. So, and I think that reflects on the coaching. So far, I think Taylor's doing well. I'm going to give him a B at this point.
B for the coaching staff of Cincinnati. I'm with you. Last year, I kind of laughed at him. I thought he was overmatched as a coach. They were non-competitive last year. They were lucky to win the one game they did. But this year's a different story. And like you said, it's not just Burrow makes a huge difference, yes. But it seems like there's a culture change. And everyone's bought in. Except for guys like Dunlap, who, as a crunchy old veteran, didn't want to do what he was asked to do. So he pouted until they got rid of him, which is the new fad. Just pout until they get rid of you.
Yep.
I think Taylor and company has this young, hungry team believing in what they're trying to achieve. They've bought in. I'm going to give them a B+.
Okay.
And I'm terrified this week because they're playing Pittsburgh. And
do they still have to play them twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're dangerous. Overall, the Cincinnati Bengals.
They're definitely going in the right direction because of their record, I'm going to give them a C+. And that's still good. I mean,
that's very generous.
Yeah.
They've doubled their win total from last year with half a season to go.
Yeah.
And again, that offense is very scary. Their defense is pretty much ineffectual. I'm going to give them a C-. But again, the trajectory is moving up. The Bengals are on their way up. And it's terrifying to think there could be 4 teams in this division that are all highly competitive.
And they had that really decisive victory that was like was it against the Titans? I'm trying to think. I know it was against a good team, and it was pretty much a blowout. And that was what was like, okay, there may be this may be a game changer now that they're.
I can check their schedule real quick.
And I'm not saying they're going to go in and blow out the Steelers or even beat the Steelers, but I think it's a good measure for them to play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Steelers have barely gotten through the last couple of games, and Cincinnati's. I just feel like this could be the week that that they have an issue. Let's see, the Cincinnati. Yeah, they beat Tennessee 31-20.
Wow. Okay.
Week 8.
Okay. Good for
All
them.
right, let's move on to the West.
The fun West.
Andy Reid and the Chefs, what they got cooking up there in Kansas City. Barbecue. Kansas City style. What can you say about the Chiefs' offense?
I mean, come on. I mean, Mahomes, great quarterback. Really good receivers. Great running game. I mean, what isn't working for their offense? I can't find any weakness in their offense right now. I mean, I know there's been times where they were held in check for a little bit, but it's hard to keep them in check the whole game. I can tell you that. Mahomes is like, what, 27 or 28 or maybe 30 TDs with one interception? What the heck is that? Oh, my gosh. Just when I thought he couldn't get better. So I'm just going to give him an A without saying anything else.
A for the Chiefs offense. Yeah. Again, I don't know why Le'Veon Bell even signed here, but when you can have a guy like him and not need him, that shows how many offensive weapons you have on this team. And Mahomes, just the improvisational skills, the sidearms, the underhands, the no-look shovels, it seems like when you shut down one phase of their offense, they just do something else. And it's like they sit there and draw it in the sand. They just kind of make it up as they go along. And that's a tribute to Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. I mean, they're genius. Also, Chiefs offense.
You brought up a thing that's probably his best attribute, Mahomes, is to extend plays. I didn't bring that up. Yeah, on top of that.
Yeah. Chiefs defense.
Okay. I remember last year, and I know we're not talking about last, but I remember last year, even the year before when they almost made it, and they had a terrible defense. And it got a little bit better as the year went out. I mean, but they were so bad. And then last year it got better. And so this year I think they might have taken a little bit step back, but they're still a solid defense. They're not good against the run. I'm trying to remember if that was a weakness before that or if this is a new thing. But they're not good against the run. And you saw that specifically even more so last week. When McCaffrey and Carolina came in. And that's not good because if you have a really good running team, that could keep your defense out there and Mahomes without the ball. So that might be like the quote unquote formula if you have a good running team. So that's a little worrisome, but I'm still going to give them a solid B.
B for the Chiefs defense. Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones can get after the QB. But I agree. If they have an Achilles heel anywhere, it's here. It's the defense. And you're right. If you can keep them on the field and wear them down, and keep Patrick Mahomes and that offense on the sideline, that's how you beat the Chiefs. So I'm gonna go with you on that. Their defense is vastly improved over a couple of years ago. You're right. A couple of years ago, they couldn't stop anybody. Remember that game they had against the Rams? Was that 2 seasons ago? And it was like 50 something.
Oh my gosh, that was
51 or whatever.
I remember we were like saying, "Oh, this isn't football."
It was like watching a video game. So I'll give them a B on defense as well. Coaching, Andy Reid,
Andy Reid, and company staff. I mean, Reid's been in football for forever. I don't know, since his 5th birthday, I guess, or whatever. I don't know how long he's been. And I was actually
the Eagles when he was only in his 60s.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been with Kansas City. I was like, it's not a recent thing. I mean, he's been like there, 8 or 9 years already too. Yeah. It's like, it's not just he started with Mahomes. I mean, he was with them for a while.
Yeah.
Finally got
yeah.
And he's obviously a great coach. He does have a very good, very versatile offensive mind. He knows how to scheme things up to also, like we talked about with Harbaugh, also to maximize his talent. I think he's even better than Harbaugh in terms of coming up with pure offensive schemes. And that's probably from his experience. So I'm giving him an A.
A for Andy Reid. I'm doing a lot of that tonight.
Seems to fit most of the time.
Not Andy Reid is one of the most likable guys in the league. How could you not root for Andy Reid? And I was so happy that he finally got his ring.
Yeah.
Because the one knock on Andy Reid was that he couldn't win the big one. It was like a Marty Schottenheimer kind of a thing, you know. I think he's also beneficiary of the most brilliant offensive mind in football right now, and that's Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, okay.
Who should be a head coach, probably wearing green in New York. But the Jets are so fucking stupid. They prefer Adam Gase. Yeah, the coaching staff in Kansas City is outstanding. They're highly inventive and completely unpredictable. So for that,
yeah,
I give them an A.
And I forgot to mention, don't they have Spagnuolo with the defense?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and that's another. I mean, you're right. The whole staff. It's not.
Yeah.
And you can only wonder if the Jets had hired him, where Darnold would be at this point. You can only wonder.
Exactly. Overall, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Just an A. Well, you know what? I'm going to give him an A+. I know it's the only.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh! I was thinking, why did I even make an A+ graphic? We're not going to use it. Nobody's
we're going to use it.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm going.
And you know, I mean, I shouldn't say it because, you know, A+ really means it's a perfect, and I know they're not a perfect team, but I wanted to use the graphic.
Well, thank you, because I went and made it. So thank you for using it. I gave them an A- for the simple fact that their defense can be dinged. And if they have a hole in their armor, that's where it is. So, but I do think they're the best team overall still. Until they're dethroned, they're still the champs, right? Until they're dethroned. Yeah. All right, let's move on to Chucky's team, the Raiders. Now in stupid Las Vegas. I hate that.
Las Vegas,
with that fancy stadium. I liked it when they played in Oakland in that shithole that like the toilets would back up. And, you know, it was that's where the Raiders need to play, in a shithole. They're the Raiders, man. Offense I just want to call them Oakland, the Raiders.
The Raiders. You know, they're a little bit of a hit or miss offense, and that kind of describes Derek Carr very well. You could see him do these like spectacular plays where he's diving and throwing an accurate pass, and then on the next play it's like, you know, where did the ball go?
Yeah, he'll just football. Right.
Where's the football? You know,
right?
I don't know. It's like it's hard to. They've definitely gotten a lot more consistent recently. Like I would say probably over the last 4 games of the first half. I mean, more of the ups than downs, and you could see it on the results. So, you know, they're 5-3 right there in the playoff picture. Which I think they have a good shot at. I'm going to give them a B for offense.
B for the Raiders offense. Yeah, they you know, Carr, what was that, 3 seasons ago, before when he broke his leg, Carr was having an MVP season.
Yeah.
And he's never been the same. That said, this is the best season he's had since the injury, because he's looked pretty bad the last 2 years in between. But I do like your spot on analysis with he can look brilliant on one series and then go out there and just like lay the ball down on the ground. Like, it's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
Their running game is great. They've got some decent receivers around him now.
Running.
So I'm going to give them, boy, this is tough. I'm going to give them a B on offense.
Okay.
Defense.
Same analysis as the offense, up and down a lot. You know, they did such a great job. We just talked about Kansas City. How no one can stop their own. That defense did a great job. I mean, on keeping Mahomes bottled up.
But so did the Chargers when they played.
And the Chargers too. That's true. Good point. I mean, it must. You really, as a coaches of opposing, and hopefully Tomlin is doing this too, looking for ahead.
No,
you need to look. Not look that ahead, but you know what I mean. Like watching the film to know how to, attack Mahomes. So that defense does have some talent in it. But then they go up against, other teams and they give up,
like Cincinnati or something. Yeah.
30 points.
Right.
Also up and down. It's almost like the two aspects of the team are really tied together. Like they kind of have to be on the same page in order for them to do well. So I'm going to give them a C+.
C+ for the Raiders defense. I can't say anything better than what you just said.
Oh,
and they do seem like they're almost like symbiotic.
Yeah.
That if one's having a bad week, the other one will too. And if one's having a good week, the other one will too. And that's the way their season's gone. Like
yeah.
They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one. Then they win two, then they lose one. I don't really know who this team is. They're right in there with the Colts and the Titans and these kind of. Are they really a playoff team or are they not quite? I don't know what to make them. I'm going to give their defense a higher grade, though. I'm going to give them a B-.
Okay.
Coaching. Chucky and team.
John Gruden. He certainly had quite an interesting football journey. Coaching and then going to the booth and then coming back. That was how many people that were surprised at that. He's been there, I think, 3 years now. I think, yeah, third year. He's obviously a good coach historically, and he's doing a good job with his team. The Raiders specifically have had problems with discipline, and they don't have that problem this year or under him. So I give him a lot of credit for that. He's an offensive mind as well. He can scheme offensively, and he is helping Derek Carr out a lot with that type of coaching, his offensive side of it. So I'm going to give him a B+.
B+ for Chucky and his coaching staff. When he came back and they gave him that big deal with all that money, 10 years, 100 million, I was like, okay, they clearly think that he's going to take them. And then he starts getting rid of guys like Khalil Mack and they were terrible. And, I know he had a plan 3 years ago, but I couldn't help but think that his plan was outdated, that he was outdated already, that the game had passed him by. In the 10 years he was in the booth, it had evolved to a point where he was lost. And I was laughing because I thought he dismantled a team that was capable of making the playoffs. And I thought he destroyed it. But his plan is coming together now.
Looks like it.
So he clearly had a 3 to 5 year plan, and he was right. And I was wrong. And I feel bad that I laughed at him. Because you're right.
We'll see.
And I know that Derek Carr is not the guy he wants. He does not want Derek Carr as his quarterback. He wants something else.
Yeah.
But he's making it work now with Derek Carr. Because he doesn't have an alternative yet. So you're right. Chucky gets a B+. He's making it work there. Overall.
I'm going to give them a solid B.
B. Yeah, I'll leave it up. B for me too. They're surprisingly good this year. They're better than I thought they were going to be. I actually had them pegged for third place. I didn't think they'd come in last. I'll divulge who I thought would come in last.
And I think you made a really good point that he got this the long contract, which gave him the not the
time
ability,
to implement
the
this
time.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the ability, and it's like, well, do I have enough time to do it? Because a lot of times you don't have that. You need to do well, or you're going to get fired next. But he knew he could do that, so that was good.
And give credit to what's his name, Mark Davis, Al Davis's kid.
Yep.
For putting the faith in this guy, coming back after a decade off.
Yeah.
And saying, I need 10 years. I have a 5-year plan we're going to clean house. We're going to start over again. And they gave it to him. And they put all their faith in it. And it looks like it's going to work out, because I think in a year or two, we're going to hate them again. Like we used to.
I think they might sneak in this year, but
I think they will too.
Might not go far, but they might sneak in.
We'll do our playoff picks at the end of. We got 2 more teams here, and starting with the Mile High Denver Broncos.
Oh, that's right, the Broncos. I was thinking the Chargers were actually doing
it. I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they got leapfrogged. They got leapfrogged.
Wow,
you got a 3-5 Denver Broncos team here.
Jeez.
They're exactly who I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, they're exactly where we thought we'd be. I mean, also a lot of up and down, mostly up and. I mean, they have a lot of young, young kids on that. Drew Lock, Jerry Judy's showing how good he is. He's a bright spot in that.
Yep.
In that team, sometimes they make it work, and they might have something similar to what the Raiders are. It's like sometimes they have to. They need to take a little while to get going, and that means having the defense keep them in the game that far to do it. So I'm gonna give them. I know it's hard. All right, I'll just say C. That's fine.
For their offense.
Yeah, offense. It's C.
Okay. C. They've been surprising. Every time I watch this team, especially the offense, I'm like, well, they're young. They're mistake prone. They're going to be aggressive, but they're going to make a ton of mistakes. One thing I've seen is that they get down a lot, but they don't give up.
That's true.
This offense seems like they have the ability a lot in the second half, especially, to start putting up points when they're coming back. And I don't know if that's the other team kind of laying down, we got a 2-score lead, we're good here, and kind of letting them back in and not being able to slam the door back on them again. Could be a combination of a lot of things. But that offense, they have a lot of young talent on that offense. They just can't seem to consistently get it together.
Yep.
I'm going to give them a B- on offense.
Okay.
I think their offense is kind of dynamic and fun. Defense.
Defense, it's like same thing as the offense. They're mostly young as well, I think. I don't think they do anything spectacular, but they're solid, and they certainly keep them in games where they're within reach, so that as you said, the offense has time to come back in the second half. Because for a team to come back, you've got to kind of stop the other team for a little bit too. So I'm also going to give them a C.
A C for the Denver defense. What hurt them was losing Von Miller.
Oh, Von Miller was like...
not just for the veteran leadership alone, never mind his talent. Their defense doesn't seem... I think their offense is ahead of the defense schedule-wise. Denver defense used to be really good when they had Trevathan and all those guys. I mean, they were... there's only a few remnants of that left. So I'm with you. I'm going to give them a C. They're just like an average defense. They can, once in a while, slow you down, and some weeks they're just not gonna.
They used to remember when they used to have that defense where the offense was kind of like non-existent, and
the year Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl.
They went to the
right.
What the heck?
Right, they won that with the defense.
That changed quick.
Yeah, no, it did. Well, that's how fast things change.
I know, but that's the way it is.
We were talking about Jacksonville earlier. I mean,
right, and they were the same.
They were a couple snaps from a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and now they're awful. So. Coaching in Denver, what do you think?
Vic Fangio
and
company.
Not a fan.
No, but they're doing a decent job this year so far. I mean, we're talking about how young they are, and they're keeping them in games. The players seem to be playing for them. They're not, so they must be motivating them. So it's just, I think their weakness is in the scheming, I guess. I think I'll just stick with giving them a C as well.
A C for Fangio and company. Yeah, I'm not terribly impressed with his coaching. You got Pat Shurmur on OC. This is an older coaching staff.
Yeah. Sure.
With a really young team. Sometimes that's, you get the steady hand that guides the reckless young kids, but I don't know. I'm going to give them a C. I just think they're mediocre at best. This coaching.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I don't think they're part of the long-term plan. I think they will be replaced before Denver's good again. Like really good. Overall, the Denver Broncos.
We'll stick with a C.
C, I'm going to leave it up. Same thing. The Denver Broncos are a team that 1 week can beat you, pull out an upset, and the next week could roll over and play dead. They're that.
That's true.
Now we get to the last team on our report card. The most shocking to me, not what I thought. The San Diego Los Angeles Chargers.
And one of the most exciting at this point. Well, on one side of the ball anyway.
Well, let's talk about whoops, I didn't mean to hit that. Let's talk about that side of the ball.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know who to give credit for. Definitely their general manager for picking up, for drafting Herbert, but the way they kind of accidentally got him to play already, I don't know who you give credit to that. The team doctor, I guess.
Doctor.
I don't know. And you kind of wonder if that hadn't happened, like how far would it have gone before they discovered that he should be the quarterback, which is nothing against Tyrod Taylor. It's just Herbert is just so miles ahead.
And I feel bad for Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I do. You're right.
Seems like a decent kid, and that's a hell of a way to lose your job.
Yep. But this kid showed right from when he walked onto that field in that first play of the game, or the first play he played in, that he's an NFL quarterback in every way. He can make all the throws. He can move in the pocket. He can scramble and also run for yards as well. We've talked about how they have in a position where to win he can't make any mistakes, which is not a fair thing. So because everybody's going to make mistakes, I'm going to give them a B+ for offense.
A B+ for the San Diego Los Angeles Chargers offense. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about the quarterback? He might be my favorite quarterback in the league now. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
After Andrew Luck retired, I was like, oh no, he was my favorite. I don't. This kid is just fun to watch. They're very young still too. Overall,
That's true.
You got Guyton's in his second year. You got Mike Williams in his fourth year, and Mike Williams, I'm just waiting for him to blossom. He's huge. He's got 6'4", like. But he just, it seems like, I don't know, maybe they aren't feeding him the ball enough. I don't know. And Keenan Allen is like the old guy on the team, and he's in his 8th year. So,
yeah, that says a lot.
Justin Jackson, the running back's in his 3rd season. So, like, they've got a lot of talent and a lot of youth on that offense, and they're really fun to watch. Chargers offense, I mean, they're putting up 30 points a game regularly. I got to give him a B+. I was almost going to give him an A-.
I was thinking.
Yeah, that offense is awesome. The defense.
The defense, on the other hand, not very good.
What happened?
I don't know. Uh, I don't know how this defense was built, I guess, because they're not very good. Um, they routinely, give up leads, multiple score leads for that team. And, they're as I said, they're at a point, or we all both said at a point where, that offense can't have a drive where they don't score. Basically, the offense has to score on every drive for this team to stay in a game, because the defense probably gives up scores almost every time as well. I guess I'll give them a C minus.
C minus for the San Diego Los Angeles Chargers defense. This unit routinely gives up 30 points or more a game to their opponent. It seems like every week I watch Herbert put up 30, 31, 32 points, and they lose 35 to 32, 33 to 30. It's got to be demoralizing. Gus Bradley, I don't know what he's doing with this defense. They were good a couple of years ago. They were really good a couple of years ago. And aside from the game they played the Chiefs, and they tricked me because they played so well against the Chiefs and almost won that game, that I went and picked them up for my fantasy defense the next week and paid the price for it. Yeah, the defense is looking pretty abysmal. I'll also go C minus. I was almost going to give him a D plus.
I know. I was
almost. Coaching.
So Anthony Lynn and staff. I'm trying to think. How long has he? I think I looked. I guess I didn't look it up.
How long he's been 2015, 2016.
Oh, okay. So,
that was. I'm sorry, he was at the Bills. So 2017.
Yeah.
2017.
So to me, he seems like a guy I really want to root for, but
yeah,
I have to.
I like him.
I have to put. I like him too, but it's like this Charger trait of like losing games, big leads, and then winding up losing the game, which is, it's boggling how it happens all the time this year, especially. It's, you got to put that on the coaching somewhat. Some of it's got to be on the coaching. You can't like somehow, come up with adjustments to keep the lead. And I know we said the defense was awful. I mean, their special teams plays is also not very good and doesn't help them with this type of losing the leads. I feel bad because he might lose his job over this. I'm going to give him a C minus as well.
C minus for Anthony Lynn and his staff.
No, specifically for this year. I know he might be a better coach, but specifically for this year.
Yeah, well, the Chargers have always had this weird history, even with Marty Schottenheimer, where they'd have a really good year, then a bad year, and then a really good year, and then a bad year. With Anthony Lynn, he had a really good year 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
3 years ago. And then he hasn't had anything since, and they've actually gotten a little worse. And again, I mean, how much of that is him? How much is his assistants? How much is the player personnel? But I like him a lot, and I think he's a good coach. But I also think he's dead man walking right now. Well, I don't think he's going to survive this unless they like run the table. But you know,
okay,
you're looking at a team right now that's 2-6, and unless he gets them somehow to 8-8, I think he's gone. So D plus.
I mean that's fair because you probably have all eyes on this kid now, and you don't want to get into that thing where it's like, oh, we're going to waste this talent because of bad coaching. No one's gonna.
I don't think it's all the coaching staff's fault, but when when you go from 14-2 and now you're 2-6 2 years later, there's been a huge drop off, and yeah, rookie quarterback aside, no, I don't think they're going to renew his contract. That's the reason I gave him the results aren't there.
Right.
What are you going to say? Overall, Chargers.
I'll see.
A C?
I mean, I really rate their offense high, but all the other aspects are so low that they bring the team down.
Yeah, I'm going to go C minus. I think they're a colossal disappointment. I thought they might give the Chiefs a little bit of trouble this year. I thought they'd at least get a wild card, come in second. They're gonna be bottom dwellers, and that's a shame.
And you thought, and you're thinking that way was without knowing how Herbert was going to be.
Right.
Okay. That's a pretty bad disappointment then.
So okay. I actually thought they'd be carried by the defense.
Right. Okay.
With Bosa, and
that's true. Yeah. Okay.
They're a huge letdown. Huge letdown. Yep. I mean, like again, 30. They score 30 points and they lose the game every week. Like that's abysmal.
Yep.
At least Gus Bradley's going to be gone, if not the whole coaching staff. But they got to make changes, I think. So let's have a little fun before we go. Let's pick our playoff teams from each conference.
Okay.
So you want to go first? We're going to start in the NFC.
Yeah. All right.
So let's pick our 4 division winners first. So pick your NFC least winner.
I was so sure when I thought about this that by process of elimination, it was like it's going to be a terrible thing, but it'll be the Eagles. But now I'm starting to think the Giants have some legs. No, I'm not that I'm changing it or anything, but like I'm starting to think that Giants actually have a chance at this. But I'm still going to go with the Eagles. It's just that I would not be shocked if somehow the Giants did, because they're looking to like the better team. So just very competitive, but I'll still go with the Eagles.
Let's keep track of these too. So
yep. I have it written down, but
yeah. All right. Yeah, I thought at the beginning of the year this might have been Dallas's year, but they are abysmal. It's the Eagles. I think they're going to go on one of those classic Eagles runs, and they're going to figure out a way to win 5 of the last 7, and that's what they seem to do year after year.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll turn it on in the second half. All right. Next, let's go to the NFC South.
So
your Tampa Bays.
I hate to fall into the NFL trap
of Falcons. I know.
This is a common trap I get into that probably a lot of people get into, is where it kind of draws you in, where you put too much emphasis on one game, but it's not just one game, because the Saints have beaten the Bucks twice now, and I think the Saints have their rest of the schedule. I did take a look at the rest of the schedule. It looks a little bit easier than the Bucks, so I think that they'll win the division.
So you go with the Saints. I'm going to leave it up. I'm also with the Saints. Here we go again with the same teams. The Saints not only beat Tampa twice, they beat them soundly twice.
Yeah, that's true.
This one last weekend was just an ass kick. Like nothing I've ever seen in a long time like that. Again, I said it on the other show. I want a Blu-ray copy of that. I want to watch it over and over and over. I just want to watch Tom Brady throwing the ball up for grabs. Saints, they've got that. It's a comfortable lead now, and they got the 2-game tiebreaker with Tampa. NFC North. These are playing out too easy.
I know. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Packers just because he got such a early lead on them. If the Vikings hadn't been so bad start, I might go with them, but the Bears are never gonna catch them.
No, I'm with you. I'm Packers as well. I think the Bears are going to miss the playoffs in the long run.
I think so too.
Surprised if Minnesota leapfrogs them. And in the West,
this one's tough. I know the Niners are not doing it, and I don't trust the Rams. And I was almost close to a few weeks ago to say I'm just going to throw in a nice little, thing for the Cardinals, but then they lost to the Dolphins, and it's like, I mean, the Seahawks did too. So you know what? I'm almost all right. Just to make it interesting, I'm going to say the Cardinals.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. The big
I know.
the West.
I'm just trying to make something different because I know the Seahawks are kind of like the favorite.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm going Seattle.
That's fine. That's fine.
Russ is having like an MVP year. Not Kyler Murray's not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Shit either.
Right.
Let's move over to the AFC. AFC East.
I mean, the Bills have just such a lead, and it's, the Jets and the Patriots aren't going to give them any trouble. I don't think the Dolphins are going to catch them.
Coming back. I actually saw a stat the other day. They did the breakdown, and they had
they've already eliminated from
the Jets have a 0% chance.
Yeah. They're already mathematically eliminated from so the Bills, I think, will. Same.
I'm going to leave it up. I Buffalo. Miami's going to make it interesting, but I think the Bills are going to hold them off and take that division. Let's go to the South.
Wow. Again, I was all convinced about the Titans, but now I mean, after seeing the Colts, specifically the defense play, I mean, I know their offense still has a lot of holes, but I think the Colts will they're already ahead of the Titans, so I think they'll keep it there.
All right, Colts. I'm going to leave it up. I'm also going to go Colts. I think the best is yet to come from this Colts offense, especially if Hilton can stay healthy, come back and stay healthy. And I think Phillip Rivers is still a work in progress with that system.
Yep.
And in Frank Reich, I just think the Colts have more parts. They can end up, in the long run, they're going to hold off. AFC North.
Well, I mean, it's an undefeated team, so I know Baltimore is there, but I think the Steelers will hold on to that division.
I'm with you. Again, 2.5 game lead over Baltimore right now with 8 to go. So that's gonna be tough to make up. And if the Steelers beat them at home now, they beat them on the road. They beat them at home in Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving night. It's all over.
That's it.
So I'm going to go Steelers as well. And then AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, none of those other teams are going to catch the
Chargers.
Chiefs at this. Well, next year I think maybe the Chargers will win maybe.
Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely Chiefs.
Yeah. All right. Well, our division winners were pretty obvious at this point. Yeah. Which is kind of sad that we're only halfway through and it's just obvious. Now we'll have some fun with the 3 wild cards in each conference.
Yep.
That'll be more fun. So go NFC first. 3 wild card teams.
What did you say? NFC or AFC?
NFC.
Oh, NFC. Well,
no
no fun. Yeah. I think the Buccaneers will kind of recover out somewhat and make it to the 5th seed.
So Tampa Bay or Tampa Brady will be one of them. All right.
And then since I had the Cards winning the division, I'll have the Seahawks be another one.
Is another one. All right, you got one left.
And I know this isn't a new idea because you were also thinking about this just to make it interesting because they're so well, the Vikings are going to leapfrog people.
Yeah, it seems apparent to me that the Vikings are finding their groove.
I mean, unless they have some kind of like really bad, where Cook goes down or something like that,
which could happen. Injuries are part of the game. All right, my wild card teams. Tampa Bay will be one. Pretty obvious, right? I'm gonna pick.
Because you have a different division winner in the.
I think this team.
Okay.
Is going to take one of the wild card spots.
That's different. Yep.
And as much as I think the Vikings are I think they're gonna make a strong push. Don't get me wrong. I think they're coming on now, but I'm gonna give the Cardinals the last spot. I think 3 teams from the West are getting in.
Yep.
AFC, 3 wildcard teams.
So the Ravens, pretty sure they'll make that.
Baltimore, okay.
Yeah, Baltimore Ravens. And I know that the Titans are having their problems, but I still think they'll make one of the wild card spots. And I hate to do this to two really downtrodden franchises because it's gonna and I'm one of the targets because I'm gonna keep them out.
Cleveland, are you?
Huh?
You're not gonna say Cleveland.
Nope, I'm gonna say the Raiders will make that last one, which means it's a shot at a downtrodden franchise like Cleveland and the Dolphins.
Right.
Not making it. Yep. So I think the Raiders will do it.
Okay.
I'm hoping I'm wrong because I want the Dolphins to make it, but that's the game.
My wild card's clearly Baltimore because I think they're the third best team in the AFC. Boy,
this will be interesting.
Boy, wow. They're talking about adding a fourth wild card. Maybe
I know they are. They are.
I know. Boy, oh boy. I'm going to take a flyer, and I know you can't because you can't be objective about this, but I think I got faith in Brian Flores and Tua. I think they're going to squeak in.
Okay.
And then it comes down to the Raiders against the Titans, and I got to go.
Okay.
I got to go Titans. I think they got a little bit more on the ball than Oakland or Vegas or whatever they want to call themselves.
I think there's a strong possibility that the Titans are just going to kind of collapse and won't even make it, but I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible.
But that's right. I mean, the Raiders and the Titans could go either way, both of them.
Yep.
So, all right, that was fun. That's the end of our 2-hour AFC card and playoff.
And playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be more fun when we get to the playoffs and we can actually bracket it out. And that'll be fun. So, all right. Any final?
I think that no matter you said, isn't it weird or isn't it kind of boring that we already have the NFL could upend this whole thing, not the whole thing, but some of them. Of these kind of and could surprise you. So, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited to look forward to that.
If Roethlisberger goes down, the Ravens.
Well, I don't think that's going to be one of them.
But something like that could happen.
Yeah.
Let's face it. If Roethlisberger goes down, the Steelers will lose 4 of the last 8 games minimum. And the Ravens can go right by them. So anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm excited about finding out.
Exactly. All right. We'll have to do our end of the year report card as well. So, all right. We will do our pick show before Sunday morning. And thanks for watching our report card show. Make sure you hop over to the socials and check out at GeekTime.net on the Twitter, the Faceplant, and the Instagram. If you're too lazy to do that, just go to GeekTime Network and you can just click on the little picture of those things and find us there. That's that for that, I guess. Anything else to add? Please dislike, comment. We don't get any comments. We need more comments.
Yeah, and
comment, and please subscribe to the channel if you get a chance. Really helps things. We're trying to grow. We're trying to grow this little flower. We water it. We got a little water. We're gonna water it every day. So
yeah, I'd love to hear the not necessarily negative, but suggestions.
Tell us
make
how
things better.
We are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could do that too. But
suggestions.
If you're because you're all smart out there, so probably smarter than us.
Definitely smarter than us. All right. Until our next show. Bye. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?